Good morning, my dear students. How are you? I hope you all are fine and enjoying your studies. Do your work regularly, my dear students. So, now let's begin the day with a positive thought, and that is mistakes are proof that you are trying. So, my dear students, keep trying always. So now, my dear students, let's check your previous homework. So check it very carefully and check the spellings too. So here question 1 was write the name of the lesson and the author. And answer is lesson wrecked on a desert island and author is Daniel Defoe. Question 2 is write other forms of struck. And you can write strike, struck, struck or striken. Question 3 was where did they plan to reach? And answer is they plan to reach over for the African coast. Question 4 was where were they driven immediately? And answer is they were immediately driven into their close quarters. Question 5 was what did they do to save themselves? Answer is they got into the second boat and surrendered themselves to God's mercy and the wild sea. So now, my dear students, do the corrections. Check the spellings and do the corrections yourself. Okay, that was all in your previous homework. So now, my dear students, it's reading time. So take out your literature reader book. So dear children, do you remember the name of the lesson we were reading? Yes, it was lesson 6 and name of the lesson is Wrecked on a Desert Island, written by Daniel Defoe. So students, can you recall what we have read till now? So let's have a quick recap. Till now we have read that the narrator and his fellow sailors went on an adventure in the sea. But what happened? Suddenly the ship stuck upon sand. And it is not easy for everyone who has not been in this kind of condition to describe or imagine the tear in such conditions. They knew nothing about where they were going. As the anger of the wind was still great, they were certain that the ship would soon break into pieces. They were in a dreadful condition indeed. And they felt that their ship would break into pieces any minute. But they have a second boat in their vessel. And with the help of rest of the men, the narrator slung the boat over the ship's side. All 11 of them got into her and surrendered themselves to God's mercy and the wild sea. Now, the situation was very bleak because they all saw plainly that the sea went so high. They didn't have time even to say, "Oh God, we were swallowed by the sea in a moment." So that was we read in our previous video. So now, today we will start from. Now, students, listen it very carefully. Nothing can describe the confusion I felt as I sank into the water. Though I swam very well, yet I could not lift myself from the depth of the sea even to draw some breath. Suddenly, a wave lifted me and carried me as long way onto the shore of an island. I was almost dead as I had swallowed a lot of water with great difficulty. I got upon my feet and tried to make towards the land as far as I could, attempting to avoid another wave should it return and swamp me again and covered me again with water. But I soon found it was impossible to avoid the next wave. The sea came after me, as high as a great hill and as furiously as an enemy, as a very angry way, in a very angry way. with the much effort and strength or possibility as an enemy. I had no energy to fight it. Students, now tell me, did he know swimming? Yes, tell me, did he know swimming? So you can say yes, because he said, "Thou I swim very well." Now tell me, who lifted him and carried him into the shore of an island? Who lifted him? Tell me, who lifted him? A wave lifted him and carried him as long way onto the shore of an island. Clear? Was it possible to avoid the next wave? Yes, tell me, was it possible? No, it was impossible to avoid the next wave. So students, understood this paragraph? So now we will read our next paragraph. I plan to hold my breath and raise myself above the water if I could, and try to pilot myself to the shore. Pilot means to steer oneself. I was afraid that the wave that carried me away from the shore might not bring me back to the shore again. It may throw me deeper into the sea. Okay. The wave buried me at once 20 to 30 feet deep in its own body, and I could feel myself carried with a mighty force. Mighty force means very strong and powerful force. And swiftness toward the shore. Swiftness means moving at high speed. That is called swiftness toward the shore. I held my breath and tried to swim still forward with all my might. Might means with all my strength. I was almost going to burst due to holding my breath. Okay? However, surprisingly, I felt myself rising up to my immediate relief. I found my head and hands shoot out above the surface of the water. Now, it was just for about 2 seconds of the time that I could hold myself above water. Yet, it relieved me greatly. It gave me breath and new courage. I was soon covered again with water and again thrown to land. I felt ground again with my feet. I stood still a few moments to catch my breath, and still the waters went from me and then took me to my heels and ran with whatever strength I had further towards the shore. But this did not help me from the fury of the sea. Fury means very great anger of the sea, which came pouring in after me again. And twice more I was lifted up by the waves and carried forward as before. Yes, students, tell me, why was he going to burst? Yes, very good. As he said, he was almost going to burst due to holding his breath. Very good. Now tell me, who gave him breath and new courage? Here it is. It gave me breath and new courage. Who gave me? Who is it here? Only when he found his head and hands shoot out above the surface of the water. Now, it was just for 2 seconds of the time, yet it relieved me greatly. It gave me breath and new courage. So it means when his head and hand shoot out above the surface of the water, he take his breath and new courage. Okay? Now tell me, How much time was he lifted up by the waves and carried forward as before? How much time? Yes, very good. You can find out. Here we have answer. Here you can see twice more I was lifted. But here we have a word more. Means before this it also faced same situation. Where it is? So here I was soon covered again with water. Once here and twice here. So we can say he was lifted up 3 times by the waves and carried forward as before. Okay, now clear is this?